12.7 billions. That's how much Ford was losing every single year when Alan Mulally took over. But here's the crazy part. When Alan Mulally took over, what saved Ford was not cutting costs, was not going electric, wasn't even firing people, and nor was it changing their cars or upgrading their cars or improving the performance. None of that. It was Mulally doing something that would make everyone in this room physically uncomfortable. You see, he gave away all the credit. And I'm about to show you why your brain is heavily wired to not let you do that. And why doing this can transform your business completely and help you scale at an unprecedented scale and not lose $12.7 billion and probably make even more. Alan Mulally understood this, and we need to understand this also. And it is completely opposite to what is the popular consensus based on the public image of Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or all the outlier CEOs. What he understood was extremely valuable. And if we can understand that, it is going to unlock a completely different level of growth for your business and my business. And it has. So I'm going to show you why your brain is wired to seek credit and why doing the opposite and overriding your wiring actually is going to lead you a lot more success and a lot more faster. So one thing we could agree on to begin this, that your success depends a lot more on your team's success than on your own. And how smart you are is as useless as holding buckets and buckets of salt water on your ship in the middle of the ocean. It's completely useless. How smart you are, how accomplished you are. It's your team's rate of growth and it's your team's success. It's your team making more money and growing that is going to have a compounding effect on the growth of your business. So this video is divided into 5 parts. First, we are going to discuss why you seek credit. What is the need for credit? It's not the self-esteem or insecurities or none of that. I am assuming that you have very high self-esteem and you're a completely secure person. And next, we're going to move on to the multiplier effect and the diminisher effect. And then we're going to move to what is the psychological safety connection. And then thereafter, we're going to discuss the 3X credit rule, which is going to help simplify how to override the natural tendency to seek credit. Then we're going to discuss the neuroscience of generous credit on team performance. And I'm going to list all the research papers in the description. And then we're going to move to the practical steps that you can use to implement this and see for your own experience that this is leading to more success or not. So you can validate what I'm sharing right now. All right. And lastly, we're going to completely disarm your ego and ask you the most important question. What identity you want to be and what legacy you want to be known for. Right? And we're going to ask you the fundamental question. With that, let's begin with the first one. Why do you seek credit? Bigger the ego you have, the bigger the tendency of these 3 biases to be hyperactive. The number one bias that you have is self-serving ego. So this is our tendency to attribute the wins or all the positive outcomes that are coming in your life to your own effort. It's a good thing because all the positive rewards that you're getting, you're attributing to your own effort. All the negative ones, you're attributing to the outside factors. And this is a natural tendency for the ego to protect itself. Rather than seeing things as they are, you are seeing things with this lens. Like all the good things that are happening because of my own efforts, and all the things which are bad happening are happening because of external effects. The second tendency that we have is misattribution. We judge our actions by our own intentions. We judge our actions by our intentions. So my intention is to grow the business, but we judge other people's actions by their results. So what result that led to, and that makes you a little bit critical about giving credit, because if the result is not achieved and input was taken, you will not be likely, you will not feel comfortable giving credit. It's going to feel counterintuitive. It's going to feel unfair. Why are you giving credit? What? But later on, we're going to discuss why even then giving credit helps you make more money, basically. And the third bias that we have is validation of self-worth. Every time you take a credit, you solve a problem, it leads to some success. You feel competent. You feel smart. You feel self-reassured. It's a good thing, but it's also a limiting thing, because how self-assured you are, how competent you are, we have already established that it's completely useless. So these are the three biological needs that you have, or biases that you have, which are leading you to seek more credit. And if you can resist them, if you could be like, God damn, I don't need credit, right? Even if it feels unfair to me, to my ego, I don't need credit. I am better off building something that works rather than taking credit for every small win that we have along the way and trying to celebrate it, right? And again, like when you take a credit, you get a small dopamine kick. It's a good thing. You get a dopamine kick. You want to work more. It's a good thing. You get energized yourself. But how much work you could do is limited. How much dopamine you can get is limited. And but how much dopamine you can give your team, right? By giving credit. Oh, you did this thing. Amazing. I want to see more of that. Oh, this is fantastic. I think you are getting really, really good at it. Now you're handling these things. I think I can trust you even more with bigger responsibilities and bigger decisions. It was not the execution of the problem. It was because of Sarah's insight that we had this breakthrough, that we were able to overcome this obstacle. And just making sure every small win, you're giving somebody else a credit. With that, you are generating millions of dopamines and millions of team members all the time, reinforcing their ego, reinforcing their competency, reinforcing their intrinsic motivation to get more done with highest quality. And if you are unsure if you're doing this correctly or not, you can ask yourself, is every time you communicate with the team, are you multiplying their capabilities or are you diminishing them? So this question will lead you to the right path. Because if everybody that comes close to you is getting bigger in his capabilities, not diminishing, then you have understood the concept. You're not lost in the public perception of I gotta be extremely fair and use a carrot and stick. If something wrong happens, I gotta use the carrot. I gotta use a stick. Something good happens, I gotta use the carrot. You have understood the concept that everybody needs to be scaling and accelerating at a high speed, increasing their capabilities. And it's just the culture that you have of acceleration of capabilities of all the team members. So everybody is succeeding bigger and bigger. And one more thing that you get once you are giving credit away abundantly is that you are reinforcing a strong connection of trust and momentum. And just that connection alone is worth exponentially. It's worth in billions and billions, because that trust and that momentum is going to lead to 10x growths, real 10x growths that you could not even fathom doing it alone with your own brain and with your own dopamine circuit. So now let's discuss why finding ways to give credit in a proportional manner works brilliantly. So it works because of three things. One is reciprocity. Somebody has gotten credit, is publicly acknowledged for doing great work. He feels compelled to do even better than that because that he sets his baseline standard at that level. So emotionally, he kind of feel like this is my identity. I am the person who have accomplished this, and everybody acknowledges it. And this reinforces the positive identity and it motivates the person intrinsically to go for even bigger goals and to challenge himself. Next thing is that ownership. Person cannot think about ownership if there is credit is very scarce to come by. It does not think like the work is my own, right? My success is my own. Starts believing that my success is dependent on the leaders. My success is dependent on the external factors. My success is dependent on the government. And when you give credit generously away, right, there is sort of an intrinsic ownership person starts taking over. So this part of my life, I have control over, I have ownership over. I do this, everybody understands that I'm the goddamn winner here and I can move a needle here. My effort is leading to a fruitful fruition. And just this ownership mentality, taking ownership of the task, taking ownership of the responsibilities, leads to a lot more growth, leads to changes in behaviors, leads to changing in communication, leads to changes in productivity. And those behaviors that start changing because a person feels he's in charge, he actually becomes in charge because of the habits that starts changing, because of the new neural networks that the person starts creating, right? And third and lastly is the compounding effect on motivation. When the person is getting credit for every small or big win he accomplishes, it starts to compound. It starts to get some dopamine. It becomes a addictive cycle, sort of. That person has to beat his previous record to go for even bigger one, right? And it is more fun. It's a lot more fun than any other game. And you sort of have successfully gamified winning. You sort of have gamified trust and momentum, right? The person, whenever a person shares a new idea, starts different side projects, which is going to lead to a bigger success. The person does not worry about, oh, will I get credit for it? Oh, will I be rewarded for it? Would anybody notice about it? Or is it my manager is going to take all the credit? And when these fears are completely removed, the person does not think about like, oh, why bother doing this? The person starts thinking, why not? Why the hell not? I should do this new thing that is going to grow the company. It's going to help my team become even bigger success. And this kind of behavior change when you have in a large group of team and for a long duration of time starts to compound. And that compound is the main thing, that compounding and that consistency of these behaviors, the momentum that the team is going to create, and the trust that is reinforcing each other is the goal. Not anything else. That's the main goal. So, lastly, we're going to discuss the most important thing. We're going to first of all disarm your ego. So, let me ask you this. If you're thinking, this might not working for me, if you're on the fence about accepting this idea, let me ask you this question. What is more important to you? Being seen as smart or building something that works? What creates more value? That you were the first person who had this amazing idea, or the idea being successfully implemented? Who builds stronger organizations? Team members who defer to you, or team members who take initiatives? So here is the $1 billion question. Are the people around you growing, taking more ownership of day-to-day responsibilities, and becoming leaders themselves? Or are they deferring to you, getting more dependent on you for direction and validation? Now, you gotta ask yourself honestly, are the people around me growing, taking more ownership, becoming more self reliant and leaders themselves? Or are they becoming more dependent for validation and direction on me? And that is the difference between working hard to be seen as smart versus working hard to build something that is valuable. The choice is simple. You can feed your ego with credit abundantly, or you can feed your business with growth. You cannot do both. And that's it. Thank you.